What's going on, everybody? This is G The Hypersapien, and in this episode I'm going to unbox and have a look at Ironjawz Orruk Maw-Krusha. Now, I've been wanting this box forever. It's actually not just the Maw-Krusha, you can build it as a character. Now, that character is Gordrakk, the Fist of Gork. Now, Gordrakk has easily the best origin story in AOS. Might be a bit biased because I love orcs, but to me no one else can compare to his story, but also the way he is. Now, I'll give you a quick rundown of the lore. Basically, in the Age of Chaos, when the Chaos gods were going around taking over all of the land, now Gork, one of the orc gods, Gork and Mork, now Gork started getting a bit pissed off that Chaos were going around taking over land, destroying wildlife and taking over settlements and putting their Chaos mark everywhere. So now Gork ended up finding the most biggest fortress of Chaos that he could find. Now, what he did, he took his fist, which is the size of a continent, they say, and he smashed it into the fortress, and it left a huge beam of white energy coming from the sky down into the fortress, and then it smashed into it and just turned it into dust, basically. And all that was left remaining was one Orruk, and that's Gordrakk, hence him being called the Fist of Gork. Now, Gordrakk himself is one of the biggest, most vicious orcs, as you could imagine, but he runs so many Orruk Warclans, or Orruk Warclans, around. Basically all the other Megabosses, they all show respect to Gordrakk, but even Gloomspite and the Ogres, those tribes even show Gordrakk respect. Basically all destruction respect Gordrakk for who he is. Now, also a couple of other points I'll make that I like about Gordrakk is his Maw-Krusha Big Tooth. It was this Maw-Krusha that no one could tame, and everyone who tried basically died or whatever. So when Gordrakk wanted to find his mount or wanted to tame this beast, they basically both got into such a big fight that they made an avalanche or a collapse happened, and it all fell over them. And Gordrakk was able to obviously escape or get out of the debris. Some say because he was smaller, so it was easier for him to fit out of the debris. But when he helped the Maw-Krusha, Big Tooth, he helped him out, and he basically put this mask over him. And I guess out of respect, the Maw-Krusha basically became tame for him, but he never would for anyone else. So Gordrakk found his mount, Big Tooth, the Maw-Krusha. And the last, I guess, bit of lore that I'll point out that I liked about Gordrakk, basically like all orcs, he's trying to find a big fight. He's trying to find the fight. He's trying to find anyone that is equal or could even be more powerful than him, which is, between me and you, probably unlikely. But he wants to fight Sigma, the god of man himself. Now, he wants to fight Sigma, but the thing that I like the most about Gordrakk, where I guess he is equivalent almost as a living god, just like other factions, big hero or big character, the ones that aren't actual gods, they could be considered gods. So, with Gordrakk, unlike chaos gods, unlike human gods like Sigma and the chaos gods, and even, as I say, the lesser gods or just heroes or characters of the armies, as they are not technically gods, but the power they have are godlike. But anyway, my point is, Gordrakk doesn't want to have his politics everywhere. He doesn't want to control and make everyone, like the Chaos Gods do, turn to their side, or he doesn't want what Sigma wants, to purge the land of chaos and then have his own control over the realms. What Gordrakk wants is everyone just to basically run wild, be themselves, and fight each other, and have fun, basically. And really, politics aside, who doesn't want to just be themselves and run wild and do what they want, really? Obviously, within reason, he still wants that respect, and he gets that respect from the Destruction clans. But I've always liked that about orcs in general, but also about Gordrakk especially, because he basically doesn't want to control everything in a sense of, oh, you have to bow down to me, you have to follow all these rules and regulations and politics to be a part of us, otherwise, you're against us. He just wants to go around and cause destruction, hence him being in the Destruction faction. So I've always wanted this kit, and it's an amazing kit, probably my favourite AOS kit that I've ever seen, compared to a lot of these other big centerpiece models. And you can get the Orruk Maw-Krusha, which is a Megaboss on Maw-Krusha, but obviously, as you can tell, my love for Gordrakk, I'm obviously going to make mine Gordrakk. Let's have a look. So let's have a look at the back. This box builds either Gordrakk, the Fist of Gork, or Megaboss on Maw-Krusha. Meh. So we get both of Gordrakk's weapons, which are Cunning and Smasher. Now we get the Citadel suggested colour scheme. So it has the yellow armour, has the Orruk skin, and then it has the black armour. Then to this side we have the back of Gordrakk. So he's got these chains coming out to hold him on his Maw-Krusha. Then we got Big Tooth, which has his helmet on. We have Megaboss on Maw-Krusha. So it's basically your more standard Megaboss. So we got Rip-Tooth Fist on the Megaboss on the Maw-Krusha. So we got Rip-Tooth Fist, we got Scrap Tooth, and then we got a Chopper on the other hand. So build your Megaboss on Maw-Krusha with either Boss Gore Sticker and Scrap Tooth, or Chopper and Rip-Tooth Fist. As you can see, there's a nice side shot of our Megaboss on Maw. We got that nice tail with that dagger on the end of it. We got his nice beady eye, big jaw, awesome earrings with his scarred up face right there. Here we have a nice shot of him, absolute beast. And that's the back. So like always, let's bust this box open, because I've been dying to have a look at it. And let's have a suss at what comes in the box. So like always, we'll look at the instructions first. Now choose the variant you want to build. Gordrakk, the Fist of Gork, or Megaboss on Maw-Krusha. Read this first. Before assembling your model kit, please read through the instructions in this booklet carefully. A pair of plastic cutters is required to remove the plastic components in this kit from this frame. We advise using a mould line scraping tool to clean up the parts. To assemble your model, you will need plastic glue. Games Workshop sells Citadel fine detail cutters, Citadel mould line remover, and Citadel plastic glue, but does not recommend these products for use by children under the age of 16 without adult supervision. So let's have a suss at the Maw-Krusha. So 1A, you get piece 1, which is his leg. piece 2 is his hoof. As you can see, looks like it fits quite nicely. It has this little part here that slides into it, and then the more chunky part goes in, so that's quite a nice, unusual little fit. Now 1B, you get the other side. You can follow the yellow part is where the glue line goes. And you got one complete leg. Now you got 2A, which is a similar step with 5 and 4. And that goes there. Just like the last one. And then you get piece number 6, that is the opposite side. Just closing that gap there. And then you got another complete leg. So then you get his, by the looks of it, his back, spine and tail. So you get 63 and 7. Looks like you get little tabs here that you glue and slide that in. You get a nice bit of his body going. Now 3B is, that's the piece that you just built, and then you grab this part and you glue that in, which is quite interesting. That must be its underbelly. Now 3C, you get the 3B, and basically you can see the yellow up here, which is all the glue lines, and you put into his upper leg. 4A is 11 and 10. That's it complete. So you get 4A and then you add 12 to it. Now this build doesn't look complicated, but just take your time obviously, so you get them all nice and smooth and flush in place. Because here's a big centerpiece and a big model, you don't want to be rushing it. And what they don't say in the steps is obviously you're going to have to clean up the mold lines and whatnot in between steps. So now we've got 4C, and we get 4B, and we get 13, which is another one of his big, basically they're his front legs, which are more like human arms, like more muscular, and they have this fist part on them. So either way, once you stick that together, then that's that step complete. Now 5A, some little fiddly bits. Then you get 16, 15. And as you can tell, you can slot them in place. 5B, you get 5A, and then you put it against 14. You can see that it has some little circular parts here that obviously it fits in, so it's just so it's a bit more flush and secure to fit. And then you got this, which is 5B, and then you get 5C, which is 17, and you put that on top or slide that on, and what it turns out to be is his face. You get that big fisted arm. Basically you add these wings to it. And even 19, you add this little claw there. As you can see, the whole arm here. And then 21 is a piece of his wing. Now I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure you can leave this wing off, just because it's going to be easier to paint the wings separately. But that's, I guess, more for me to worry about. It's not a kit that I can advise 100% how to build, because I haven't built one. But as anyone knows that follows the channel, I prefer to be able to paint the model without any stresses. So pretty sure you can not put this on just so you can get to that wing. So 7A, you get 22 and 24. Now this might even be the wing piece that I was on about, because I know once I show you the model, basically the wings cover a fair bit of it. So, but we'll see how we go. When I do a painting video or a hobby update, I'll let you know, talk to you about it. So yeah, as you can see, that has these little circular little parts that obviously help it slide in place. So 7A is obviously the bits you had, and then the last bit, 7A, is obviously the last step. Then you get 25, bit of glue there, and then you get that nice looking awesome wing. 8A, piece 4, and 3, so it's basically parts from before. As you can see, it's along its bottom of his tail, it's got a couple of those little circular indents. Comes around. Don't forget to put another one of his little claws on. Now yeah, you've got a bulk of the body. As you can see from this view, his big staunch front arms. 9A. So now you put number 1 on, which is that leg from before. That's a nice picture of it with the leg on. The same step, number 2. And then the last, this is what I'm on about, I believe. So it's all together. You could paint this, all of this, and then leave this off, because obviously if you glue some parts on later, it could have some imperfections because the glue might get on the paint, or you might have a gap that needs filling and all that stuff, which can be a headache. But with this, because it's going over this part, you're not going to be able to see any of the glue or any of the issues, so it's going to slide on nicely and won't have any issues. So you can leave this and be able to paint this side and the inside of the wing, paint all of this, because my point is the wing's going to cover up a lot of this, so it's going to be hard, and you most likely be visible to your eye, but it'd be hard to get the brush, you'll get the brush in there, but just to show the detail. So the dry brushing or whatever techniques you use, it'll be hard to do it in when the wing's covering, say, this leg and some of the body. So my advice would be do it like this, and then stick the wings on after. You shouldn't have any issues, and you'll be able to take your time doing all of this, even if you can't see some of it. Just have a peace of mind by knowing that it's all done properly, just in case any of it's visible in between the wing and the body. And that's just showing you again how it's done. So now 9D, you get 9C, which is all the stuff before, piece 6, which is just the other wing. So even you could, just so you can see what it looks like, and just so you can spray it, you could even blue tack this. But what I'd probably do is just spray, as I say, all of this, leave these wings off, attach them to a bit of wood or anything really, a bit of cardboard, spray it one side, make sure it's all dry so you don't get fingerprints or anything on it, spray it one side nicely, turn it around and spray the other side, you won't have no issues. 9E now, which is all of that complete. The only other part is 5, so stick his head on. And there you have it in all its glory. How awesome is that? 9F is the Maw-Krusha. And now he's complete. So now you have the Orruk. So you have his little tongue, 27 and 28. His tongue as you can see in this step, you attach it in that little part here. It has this little ridge part that comes out. 10B, you add 29 into that, into the 10A, and then you have this part. Then 10C, you add piece 30. Looks like there's a gap just there. His butt cheek or whatever. 32, you have this little hole here by the looks of it. Another little part that adds there. As you can see on here, covers that hole, and here 10D you have 31. It's like this little Captain America's feathery foot. 10H, you put both of his shoulder pads on, and then you have the complete body. Now you have Gordrakk, the Fist of Gork. So we'll see what's different about him. So he has the chain on his crotch area that holds him to the Maw-Krusha. We have these two spiky parts that go on his chest there, like some big nipples or something. 10C. So this is his totem pole, I guess you could call it, or his boss pole. So 57, 56. And also you add this storm cast, I believe it's a helmet or something of a storm cast onto his leg. 10D, you add this bit on his arm. 52, you do the same on the other side. So then he's got both of his weapons, one each side. Now this is awesome. His face, and it's attached, he's got his necklace attached to his face, and then you have it. And then I guess it might be obvious, but I'm going to paint him and Big Tooth or the Maw-Krusha separately. Just again, it's going to be hard to get into places on, especially if he's glued on. It's going to be hard to get to some of the Maw-Krusha's body. As I say, even these wings, it's going to be hard, so I'm going to keep these off and paint them all separately, and then leave Gordrakk off and paint him separately. And then also he comes with this mask, but I'm going to try and convert mine a little bit, but we'll worry about that another video or another time. I'll show you when I've completed him. So it's not bad, but I don't really like the rag too much on him. So I'm probably going to try and remove that maybe, depending on how easy it is to remove. And because he's called Big Tooth, I'm going to try and add a lower jaw to him, but anyway. And then we've got his backside. And we've got the complete and painted Gordrakk, the Fist of Gork. Now I'll quickly show these stats just in case you're interested. And you get Smasher, Cunning, Big Tooth's Mighty Fist. So yeah, he gets those big fists at the front and smacks around with them. Uses his bladed tail as well. I'll have a quick look at this just in case you want to have a quick look at what you get. But obviously if you're an Orruk player, you'll have the battle tome. But just if you're watching this and you're interested, or you might want to get some Orruk Warclans miniatures and start an army. I'll just have a quick look at the Megaboss and Maw-Krusha. So he also gets that piece that goes over his crutch. He obviously gets a different face. He gets an awesome looking jaw piece, which I'm a little bit jealous of because it looks sick, but also Gordrakk doesn't need a big jaw like that. He has his little bling bling, aka a dwarf beard, I think, that he's slain. He gets these little tusk parts go on top of him, As you can see, he gets a different back piece, banner or a boss pole. And gets the different weapons. Obviously you get two there, the Ripper Fist or the blade. You get these arms that have these armor plates that come on. So you get a nice big one for the fist, and then you get a smaller one for the blade. Might convert and chop and change and see what I can do, just to make Gordrakk a little bit more beasty if we can. So again, he gets two different options with the weapons. So it looks like a chopper and a gore hacker, basically a halberd spear type weapon that the Orruk have. Now, he looks really cool as well, doesn't he? Not sure what this part is really. It seems to go on the Maw-Krusha. Looks like it's a skull that's been bolted on and attached to his spikes. It must be, looks like a seat. So it must be where he sits. And then you get the other chains that attach him to there. You get those chains each side, just to make sure he doesn't fall off his Maw-Krusha. And then you get Megaboss on Maw-Krusha. His Scrap Tooth, Chopper, Rip Tooth Fist, and then you get the same attacks for the Maw-Krusha. Again, I'll have a quick look at this, just to try to save time. I'm trying not to read as much as I can. And there you have the two different variants of two different mega bosses on Maw-Krusha. Now the part that we've all been waiting for. Let's have a look at the actual miniature. Never seen a base this big. That is insane. The Megaboss on foot, I have his base here that I'm working on. So that's a Megaboss on foot's base. And that's a Maw-Krusha. Or a Megaboss on Maw-Krusha. Look at that. So keen to get this Maw-Krusha up and going. So we'll have a quick look at this. It looks like it's Gordrakk's sprue. So how detailed is that? It's even better in person. So it's even better to look at it this way than to look at it on the art. It's just so much detail. So he's got that eye that's gouged out, or been sliced out. He's got that exposing bit of brain, or skull rather. There's his little tongue where it attaches to his neck, and you put his face over. That's the Mega Boss's little totem pole or boss pole. It's that gore hacker. Is one of his weapons. That's a bit of the Maw-Krusha's faceplate. You can see another one part there. Looks awesome actually. So yeah, I didn't know if I quite liked it. Just its mask, but it looks pretty good. Might have changed my mind after looking at the model. So he gets his big axe. That'd be the Mega Bosses. Gordrakk gets two of these, so good. Where a normal Mega Boss on foot just gets one of these axes. Nice big plate for his back. We'll flip this over. We'll see what we missed. A shoulder pad here, and then another one on top. And you get this skull piece that goes on to his back piece, which is here, I believe. So that would be, so that skull piece goes there and finishes this off, and then it goes into his back. How much detail this has. Just all these little veins and all these little pimples or dots. So this would be his softer side, not emotionally, physically. Nice big claw. Reminds me of Jurassic Park when he gets the raptor fossil. How good is that wing? It looks like it's torn a little bit. I'm going to try and make this look nice, as good as I can, I guess. But it just comes to mind. You can obviously paint this, but I'm going to try and make these maybe look like cuts or rips in there. Oh, that looks sick. It's kind of like a skull in a way. How great is that? Just awesome. So good. Just how much detail's in this. You get those chains. You get his foot. Then you get his other big punching hand. Yeah, those two spikes that go under Orruk. His tail, that looks pretty deadly. Nice. So good. These are his front arms. These big bodybuilder looking logs. There's that really nice jaw piece. You got that skull at the top there. This is his spine basically, and attaches to his tail here, one side at least of it. Now we saw this tail before, had a lot of spikes, and then you also get this huge weapon on there as well, this huge blade. Again, that's one of the wings. That's what his feet look like. It's kind of funny because obviously it's not a dragon. I believe it's meant to be what a wyvern used to be. Orcs and goblins used to have wyvern, so it's not quite a dragon. But obviously they've kind of made it a little bit different as well, having these huge front fists. Now, a little bit of a lore for anyone that doesn't know. Maw-Krushas technically can't fly, but the ground is scared of them, so it flies. Anyone knows that orcs or Orruk, if everyone believes it enough, it becomes real, so the ground is scared of the Maw-Krusha, so it allows it to fly. So obviously it's a bit, it's got wings, but it's fairly heavy. Just thought I'd add that, it's kind of funny. So you have this jaw piece, but on the back, or it's like the top part of its head, it's really detailed. Can't wait to build this. You can just imagine how big it's going to be with pieces like this. Almost wish that you could buy separate parts. I'd love to put that on Megaboss on foot or whatever. Put that as his arm, shoulder guard or something like that. It would just these bits you could use so many ways. I'll obviously have some leftovers, but these armor plates and wings and whatnot could come up with so many different ideas of what to do with it. And pretty much that's most of it. Not really sure I've missed anything. The feet, they're both similar. Well, they're both the same, the feet. But I love all this like texture of the scales and stuff. There's those big armor pads or armor guards that I pointed out earlier, and that I believe doesn't go on Gordrakk, but we'll see if we can add any more bulk to his armor. Now that's the Stormcast helmet that goes on his knee. It's really cool. Now that's the Maw-Krusha's face. Side of his face. And then the other side of his face, he almost has these lobster looking eyes. Like a prawn or something has. The only part I haven't shown, I believe, is the Megaboss face. Looks really cool. I reckon I'm going to use that on the new Megaboss on foot that I've got. But we'll see. It just looks a little bit more menacing than the one on foot. Looks good. Like that little sort of smile, like I'm going to go and cause some destruction face he has. So man, that was an amazing miniature. Can't really call it a miniature though, can you? It's huge. But yeah, I've been wanting a Maw-Krusha for so long, but Gordrakk is one of my favourite characters, so I've been wanting him for a while. Comment and let me know what you think of Gordrakk, the Fist of Gork. And yeah, as always, I appreciate you watching. Thank you very much. This is G The Hypersapien, and I'll catch you next time. Look at that base. Look at that base.